Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm, and today I want to tell you how to score free flowers for your gardens. So if we haven't met yet, it's nice to meet you. My name is Kelly Lehman. I'm the owner of Cranberry Fields Flower Farm here in Cranberry, New Jersey, and I love giving you guys fun, free flower tips. So please feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that bell notification so you know whenever we post another fun, free flower tip video. So let's dive right in. So here I am back in my secret garden and flower farm here in Cranberry, New Jersey. We're planting hardiness zone 6. And one of the ways that I get free flowers every single year is that I plant flowers that are known as profuse reseeders. And basically what that means is that some flowers are really good at creating seed, dropping them in the garden bed on their own, and then those seeds grow super easy by themselves without any, like fuss from the gardener. So the first plant that I want to tell you about that's a great reseeder is black-eyed Susans. So in this flower bed, I think I probably planted just a handful of these flowers, probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And what happened is they basically just reseeded themselves, and they're just spectacular. And this is a terrific plant to have if you want to take a look at, the pollinators up close. The butterflies love them, the bees love them, and so it's a terrific flower to have in your garden. And what happens is that I do not deadhead this flower back. So what's going to happen is fall is going to come, these petals are going to wind up, falling off. And it's not going to look very attractive back here for a while, and that's okay. But some people that like to have manicured gardens all the time might have a hard time with this because it does look a little bit like Halloween-like, because it just gets very kind of like burnt out and, doesn't look very attractive. But it's worth keeping them here and not deadheading them, because the inside of each of these black-eyed Susans is packed with little seeds. So right now, they're not mature just yet. So I'm going to wait for the fall. These are going to get nice and mature, and they're going to wind up dropping off the plant all by themselves. And what happens is they sprinkle themselves into the soil, and then they wind up kind of getting like dug into the soil all by themselves. I don't even have to come out here and do any kind of covering up. I don't have to come out here and water them. Mother Nature takes care of all that. So all these seeds drop to the ground. They kind of like dig themselves into the dirt. Mother Nature usually takes care of the watering. And then the next spring I come out here and there's tons and tons of additional baby plants all around them. And then this is what you wind up having over the course of a few years. So black-eyed Susans are one of my favorite flowers that do this, but another beautiful flower that does this is echinacea. And I'm going to show you my echinacea patch of flowers that's on the other side of the house. And then I'm also going to show you the mint that I grow there, because that's another profuse reseeder. So here's how this flower winds up like reseeding and planting new flowers on its own. So each of these beautiful little seeds is going to become mature probably closer to fall. But here's one that kind of got like an early jump on the game. So I know it doesn't look very pretty right now. It's kind of like a Dr. Seuss, like brownish looking flower. But this is what the seeds look like as they're coming off the plant. And there's so many of them. My girlfriend Susie actually sent me a bouquet of dried echinacea one year. So I took each of these seeds and I kind of just sprinkled it in my garden in fall, and that was the end of it. And so what's going to happen though with this plant is it's going to actually do that reseeding all on its own. So each of these gorgeous little seeds are going to wind up dropping to the ground in the flower bed on their own, and between the rain and the wind, it kind of like just digs itself into the ground. I don't even have to come out here and rake it over, and I usually don't have to even worry about watering this plant. So if you do have like a dry spell, you might want to come out and water, but Mother Nature took care of it. And this garden bed here, I think I started out with maybe 2 echinacea plants, maybe like 5 years ago, and now I've got this gorgeous garden bed of it. So the bulk of these beautiful echinacea flowers basically reseeded all on their own. So it's a really low maintenance flower to have in your garden. And these guys are also drought tolerant. So it's a super easy plant to maintain in your yard. I'm noticing that a lot of my echinacea is dropping to the ground. It got very heavy. It's losing its petals. But what's going to happen if I don't do a quick pickup of this plant is all those beautiful seeds are going to wind up seeding themselves in the lawn. And then what's going to happen is that, the landscapers are going to come and cut the lawn. and it's going to wind up like trimming any semblance of new seedlings or flowers, and then I'm actually not going to get the echinacea. So what I need to do is prop these flowers up, and I need to make sure that as they start to kind of like reseed themselves later on in fall, those seeds are going to drop into this flower bed as opposed to the lawn. So one way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to prop up with a whole bunch of sticks. Now I used to have some great sticks from like Lowe's or my local nurseries that were just like pretty like bamboo sticks. I ran out of those. So sometimes you have to work with what you got. So what I did was I went into our woods and I found some really tall sticks, and then I just propped a few of those sticks into the ground. I made sure that the ground was kind of moist and wet when I did that. Then I dug in there. So what I did was I put these sticks in the ground, and now I'm just going to wrap them with a little bit of gardener's tape. And that looks like this. And I'll put links to all these products that I use in descriptions below. There's like a little Amazon shop list. You can buy them if you're interested. And most nurseries will also carry these. Most local nursery garden stores will have them. So here's just some gardener's tape. And I'm going to prop these up, get them off the lawn. Give it a little wrap. These guys too. I'm going to wrap this gardener's tape around the stick a few times. So I'm going to do this to kind of keep it in place once, twice. And then I'm going to sneak back here. I'm looking out for bees right now because bees love echinacea. So I'm making sure no one's in here getting their breakfast. And then, once again, I'm going to loop this around the stick once or twice. And then I'm going to give them a tie. So the bulk of these are upright in the bed. I'm just going to kind of futz with some of these now and just kind of arrange them so that they're kind of heading back here. I'm even going to put the stick in back of some of these. Okay, and now I'm going to wind up having more and more of these echinacea plants because they're self-seeding all by themselves. And mint is a profuse self-seeder. The mint is a plant that can actually wind up taking over your garden, and a lot of gardeners will just plant them in pots in their garden so they can kind of control how far the spread's going to be. And at the end of the season, they'll just lift those pots out of the garden to make sure that they don't reseed themselves and that they don't take over the entire garden. And another way that you can tell that this plant's about ready to reseed itself is it's got these beautiful flowers on it. You can tell there's a bee right on this beautiful flower here right now. So it has these pretty, pretty flowers. And what's going to happen is these flowers are then going to turn to seed. And then once again, they're going to drop into the garden. And then you're going to have a ton of baby mint plants next year. But this takes over a garden super fast. So just be careful with that reseeder.
So I'm taking a look at some of my sunflowers that have already, kind of faded. And they started producing seed. Now, the nice thing about sunflower seeds is that I can harvest them this time of year, as soon as they start to look like this. And then I can save them in either paper bags or a little envelope or mason jars. And then I save them in my barn or my garage. I keep them in a cool, dry place. And then I can plant them next season after the ground is warm enough and there's no more threat of frost. So these are the things that I look for before I harvest my sunflower seeds. First of all, you'll notice all those beautiful yellow petals have already fallen off of the sunflower. And I'm also noticing that the back of this is kind of almost turning a yellowy color, it's not that bright green anymore. And it just shows that this plant is kind of towards the end of its cycle. And so I'm also going to come in here, I'm going to scrape away some of these little nubbies that you'll see. They come off super, super easy. And beneath them, you're going to see all these gorgeous sunflower seeds. And then once you have it looking like this, you can reach in here, and if the seeds come out super easy, you know that it's ready for the harvest. And you know what? It's probably a better idea to come in here first to see if those seeds are removable before you do the scraping. But if they're not ripe yet, it's going to be really hard to scrape all those, little yellow doodads off because they're going to be kind of stuck on there. These guys are going to be kind of stuck inside, and it's just going to show you that they're not ready to harvest yet. But now I'm going to come in here and just take all these, and I'm going to put them in, like I said, either a paper bag or envelopes, and then keep them in a cool, dark place, and they're going to be good to go. And you're going to plant them in your gardens after the threat of frost next year. But guys, know one thing though, you're not going to get the same exact variety of the sunflower that the mother plant was, because we've got all different sunflowers here. And, same thing by you. You have different people's gardens. And what happens is the pollinators kind of cross-pollinate different varieties of flowers. So you're going to come out with a different version. And for the most part, they're usually not as pretty as the original ones that you had. They're going to have a lot of crossovers, a lot of different characteristics, but they will be interesting. So one of my favorite ways to get free plants is to use what nature already has in place as far as plant propagation. So these mophead hydrangeas are self-propagating all on their own. What happens is a lot of times these stems will kind of droop to the ground. They kind of lay in some of the soil, and then eventually these stems will start to develop some roots, and then a brand new plant will develop independently from the mother plant. But what I did over here was I kind of just sped up the process. So I realized a few weeks ago that this stem was bending low to the ground. So what I did was I came in here, I removed some of the lower sets of leaves. There was a few leaves over here. I just kind of removed those. And what I did was I took this, I did a little scraping with my nail, and I used a little bit of a rooting hormone. And there's a lot of different rooting hormones that are on the market. This is just one of them. I will put this in Amazon descriptions below. And what I did was I took that stem, that little area where I did that scratching, and I just dipped that stem in rooting hormone. And then what I did was I just dug away a little bit of a trench, and I buried that stem, and I put a rock on top. And this is what it looks like a few weeks later. You can tell it's already developing beautiful roots all on its own. So I just kind of sped up that self-propagating process that hydrangeas are known for. And what's going to happen is that these roots are going to get, bigger and stronger. And then once again, eventually, this stem is going to form into its own beautiful independent plant from the mother plant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit like this all winter long. But what I'm going to do is kind of snip this from the mother plant when things warm up, probably in maybe June, when there's no more threat of frost. And then once I snip this, I'm going to allow the plant to get further established independently from the mother. And then probably, closer to next fall, I'm going to dig this plant up that's now a fully established independent plant, and I could put it any place I want in my garden.
Thank you so much for joining us in this video, and please say hi to us over on my Cranberry Fields Instagram page. You can also find us on TikTok, and I made a whole bunch of podcasts for you. You can find those wherever you listen to your podcast. And know that I made a whole bunch of online flower courses for you with easy to follow tips on how to grow beautiful flowers just like these in your own gardens. I will put all of those in descriptions below. And please also let me know where you're viewing this from in this great, big, beautiful world. I love to see how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. Also check out our Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's thousands of gardeners from all over the world, and they're asking and answering loads of garden questions over there. And know that YouTube has allowed me to have a super thanks button attached to this channel. And if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee or let us know if you appreciate these videos, that would be terrific. Or you could just give us a like or a comment below. I would appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video.